happy Easter. I appreciate you coming on. It's Easter Sunday and talking to me about what's going on in your life. I know a lot has happened since the last time I did speak to you in person at an NFC event. So you want to talk a little bit about that, about what's happened?
Yeah, can you see me on video?
I cannot see you on video. Let's
All right.
if yeah, I cannot see you.
Let me see if I can get this working real quick. Start video. Maybe that'll work. There we go.
There you go. There you go. There it is. There's that face we know and love right there, man. There it is.
But appreciate you having me, brother. Happy Easter. Hope everybody's enjoying it. It's been a rough couple, honestly, a year and a half. I won't say rough. It's been some trials and tribulations getting going. And we'll talk about why. And I mean, you know why. But we'll delve into that a little bit. I want to make sure to start this out though, and I want to be make sure clear to you and everybody out there. I don't want to personally question the integrity of some of these guys on this commission. I think there's some hardworking professionals. It's just I feel sometimes the NFC and their alignment with such is makes for an unfair playing field, especially when David makes it clear he doesn't want other shows around.
Absolutely.
It's pretty cut and dry with that. So I just want to make sure to start there first. That's not my intent, is to bash anybody personally or publicly in that way. It's just I want to spread this word so we can all fight for a common good in the sport.
And I appreciate that. So, you feel like, you pretty much pushed into this position, being opposition to David, trying to grow the sport of MMA and combat sports in Georgia. You just find yourself in this position. It's not something that you want to be doing, and you don't want to make these enemies, but somehow or another, these people who used to be your friends, that's the crazy part. A lot of these guys used to support you and they used to have your back. And now you're finding yourself in a position where, you have to question some of their integrity, you know what I mean? And that's just a unique position to be, a weird position to be in. How did you get there? How'd you get there, Warren?
Okay. So it's funny. I was watching a Muhammad Ali interview just this morning, and he was talking about real friends are a blessing, and most friends you have are in it for money, right? And I feel that's pretty much how it turned out. My friendship was with David was money. I made him money, and I feel that is his love for the sport. Can't fault him. He wants to make a living. Okay, but competition makes us all better, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I'm not a dirty guy. I'd never do him dirty. And I just want the same right. And he doesn't want any other shows here for a reason. He wants an easy road, make his money. He didn't do shit in the sport. He hasn't bled for this sport. And that makes me honestly, personally angry he's like this towards somebody who put 20 years on the mats with everybody. So it's not a fight I wanted. It's a fight I had to take. And I'm having to stand against some people that honestly I hold in high regard, and I don't wish it to be personal at all. And it's very difficult. I tell a lot of people, I say, don't choose sides. I said, sit back logically and look at this from a picture on the outside. Don't think of your relationship with me. Don't think of your relationship with David. Right. Sit on the outside and you tell me if this looks like a conflict of interest or pretty much almost like a monopoly is being formed in this state.
Absolutely. And, as an objective observer, someone who, is not particularly active in the state of Georgia, someone who's seen it from the outside, it is absolutely a monopoly. And, it's just very, very weird, from somebody on the outside looking in to see someone like yourself, a veteran in the sport who has put in 20 years, who, you committed the majority of your life to this sport at this point. And it would seem like the community would welcome that experience, would want to know how the fighter thinks, to know, to have that insight, because up until this point, they don't have that. They don't have that in the commission. The one person that does have a bit of experience is Clay Bennett, right? So and most of his experience is coming with the NFC. So it's just, so many conflicts of interest that are present from an outside observer. So, you're absolutely correct in making these assumptions. I mean, not assumptions, but making these assertions and jumping into this fight. It's necessary. It needs to happen. Just coming from somebody who once was active in the Georgia community, this is needed so much. It just doesn't. People don't understand why Georgia, with the athletic, with the athletes that we have, the love and the passion for sports that we have in this sport. Why is combat sports and MMA not, why has that not thrived and grown with exponentially like the rest of the country? You
Yeah.
look in Florida, and it's right. They're making millions and millions of dollars a year off of combat sports. And you come in Georgia and it is essentially whatever you make and whatever Oblas makes. You know what I mean? That is, there's so much room for growth and opportunity. And that just, a lot of questions for that. And why do we find ourselves in that position, and how can we grow from it? You know what I mean? That's pretty much what I see when I look at um the Georgia landscape, and I appreciate you guys for fighting, man. Thank you.
I and I understand wholeheartedly. One side's going to make the statement, well, Warren's upset he got suspended. Okay, it's an infraction, a small infraction. Or heck, we could say there's, what if we made a bunch of infractions, or anybody did? You respect the commission if it's just, and we move on from that. We take it, we move on from that. Two separate issues. The little LLC infraction that they were trying to suspend us on. It's like, okay, we dropped the ball. You have to take responsibility for mistakes. It was a clerical error. Move on. It was when I sat in that meeting and I saw Clay and Dr. Traub and Oblas comes to every meeting. I'm like, man, these guys have a lot of ties to him. It's just not a fair playing field. I don't want to question these men's integrity, but it's just common sense. You can't be on staff. Dr. Traub has his logo on David's ring. You can't do these such things and it look fair or objective to anybody.
No,
It's
it
just
doesn't. It doesn't.
not possible. And then we also had our event. People kept saying, well, you weren't suspended yet because you appealed, but you sold the suspended shirts. I want to touch base on that. Technically, they tabled, Commissioner Bennett tabled, and another commissioner member, somebody brought it and seconded it, whatever, how they work. It's in the minutes if anybody wants to look that up. Was tabled. Our event was tabled. We were under good standing. So we were effectively unable to make money or plan a show in this state, and we were not suspended. That's not fair. So it's several factors we're fighting here, mainly the conflict of interest. David's made it clear he doesn't want me. The NFC, Charlene called me a snake, and they said I was spying on them, on the NFC community, which I was like, guys, I know everybody you know. I have fought for 20 years.
It's amazing to me, and it goes to show a lot about what they feel about the community and how much control and power that they feel. They felt the need to ban you from the community of which you are a part of. It's just on Facebook. You know what I mean? On Facebook, something that they can control. When these people individually.
I got pretty upset about that. He did, because how I treat people was big on me, right? My integrity. And David called me within a day of that, because I let him have it a little bit. And he was like, well, it was.
Can imagine.
It was like, I forget, it was Jesse or Charlene or something, or it was, and Jose may have thought that, but because, you were friends with us. I said, David, I promise you, I will run my show with integrity. There will be nothing out to get you ever. But the problem is I make it harder for him to do business. How? By me having pro fights, I now can offer a fighter. Let's just give an example. Let's say a pro debut came up and they were set at 3-3. And I was like, man, heck, I could pay. I like that fight. I could sell it. I would pay 5-5. Well, now they lose the fight to me. You see? So it benefits them for me to be out of the business. Amateurs, we're booked the same gyms. We all know the same people. So therefore, it's like, oh, crap, we can't fill this show up because Warren has 10 fights booked over here. So now we can't use that guy. It benefits them for me to be out of the business.
Sure.
It's just some common sense things, And
it's amazing to me. And part of that reason that you guys are running into the issue, the fighter capital, right? Which is what I like to call it, the fighter cap. There's not enough fighters to go around, right? There's not enough fighters. So we call that the fighter capital, which is what's what he wants to control is all of the fighters, right?
Mhm.
So it's just amazing to me that if you guys were able to offer more pro fights and he was able to offer more pro fights, what would happen is you would see the community grow because you would get more fighters in
Yep.
general, you know, and ultimately neither of you would have that issue. I know you don't have the issue because you're fighter led. You know, fighters are going to follow what you do just because they've seen the journey and they respect you. You know, a lot of guys look up to you in this sport, not just in Georgia, but in the Southeast and across the world, quite generally. You know, you fought all over the world, so people respect you, and you don't have the same difficulties in getting fights that say
Agreed.
a Oblas or a Jesse Wable would have. So that when it comes to fighter capital, you're terrifying. You are
I feel
terrifying.
I knew exactly what the issue was going into it, and it was disheartening to me to see that people, and I know sports are cutthroat, life isn't fair, winning's not fair, but I felt honestly used by David after the fact. And let me not lie to anybody. I'm going into promoting because one, I love the sport, right? I did my whole life. I feel lost without being involved in it, coaching and stuff like that. But
Absolutely.
I didn't say I didn't want to feed my kids doing it, right?
Yeah.
I don't think he can say the same. Why is he involved in it? It's purely for money, and that's fine. But let's be honest, he'll bring up fighter safety a lot and this, that, and the other. Exactly why I try to push Brian out, why he tried to push Johnny out of the state, some other sanctioning bodies. The only bad injury that I recall happening, which I was at the event, was his kickboxing event. The young man got brain damage. So, David, if you and that young man, okay, here's the thing. I've been in this
Yeah.
sport so long. It's not only like I know all the dirt, I know where the bodies are buried.
Yeah.
That young
Yeah.
man asked
Absolutely.
me to train at my gym, sparring. And I said, I talked to him and his people. I said, I'm sorry, he cannot come spar with us. He cannot defend himself.
Yeah.
Okay. So you let him fight for your show and got badly hurt. But yet that's why I can match make well. I have an
Yeah.
eye for it. I go in the gyms with them. I watch tape on them. I'm not making lopsided fights. Okay. I'm
Absolutely.
not. So it just ticks me off sometimes that it seems like people are winning in this state that it's a facade. They're
Yes.
hiding behind. It's upsetting to me on a personal level, and it's just time to make that change and open the doors, open the light. You know what I mean? Let everybody
That's
see the truth themselves.
absolutely, and I appreciate you speaking to that. Now, coming from a member of the community, right? Coming from a member, you know, being an active member, and you know the facade, you know, being a part of, you know, you're active there. You're a part of it. You saw it all from the inside. You saw
Right.
how it all looked, and then you started promoting, and you're like,
Mm.
well, wait a second. You know that's a facade. That's not really where we should aspire to be. You know, you yourself, I feel like, you know, doing a better job as far as, quite frankly, pulling these guys from amateur and pros, giving them more opportunity. Either way it goes, you're pushing the envelope. You're creating better space and opportunity for these guys. You know, I think that it's just interesting that the NFC just tries to push away everybody. They try to push away
So
everybody.
very funny.
Everybody.
Nobody spoke on this because they were afraid of getting blacklisted because there was one show in Georgia. So very few people speak. If you spoke up, you're not going to get a fight. You're going to get shit pay. I've had 2 or 3 gyms approach me and
Mhm.
they're like, man, thank you for putting on the show. If you get where you're busy enough, we'll totally fight for you. I'm like,
Mhm.
no, bro. Some kid offered to sign a 3-fight deal for me who's also fighting for them. And I said, I won't do it to you. Why? I
Yep.
was a fighter. Why would you ink yourself with a small local show, young man? I said,
Right.
I appreciate your loyalty, but we're not going to do that. And his coach
Mhm.
thanked me. Man, I didn't think of it like that. We just wanted to show we're behind you. I said, well, I appreciate you, but just have honest communication with me back and forth. If you want to fight for them, you fight for them. If you want to fight for me, you fight for me. All I ask is honest communication.
Yep.
And to me, that's what's going to make us stand out. I was using guys that they shunned, you know,
Yep.
and
Yep.
from gyms they shunned. They're calling me now saying, hey, man, they just asked us to fight. I said, look, I appreciate your loyalty, but if you want to fight for them, fight for them. That's the whole point, is opportunity. And that's what I want to bring to the state, is more opportunity. I would be covering
Absolutely.
my face if I didn't say that. But ask them,
Absolutely.
bet they won't say the same thing. And they
No,
know it.
no, you're absolutely correct. And And man, that's what we're talking about there. The power that David has and that the NFC controls over the state is just mind blowing. Like you just spoke to and alluded to about these guys who are afraid to take fights for other promotions because they know that that's gonna that's gonna lead to lack of opportunity on their part. If you're a gym and you choose to fight for another promotion, like I said, you get shit pay. You get, that's a really a tough spot in 2024 for entire community of people to be in. I mean, when I think about it and look at it, it's just it really is sad. It's really sad for me to think about, man.
Now,
You
let
know,
me tell you how much I do know here. Okay, this is not me speculating. I've fought for the NFC 7, 8 times ish. Main evented for them many times. Even after Jesse was brought on board as the matchmaker, he's like, I'm not authorized to pay that much. I said, I talked to David, call David. So I'd call David. Me and David would talk it.
right?
I'm a businessman too, right? I'm a professional. I knew I needed to sell tickets. I'd say, David, I can sell this many tickets. Travel me and this guy. Nobody local will fight me. I'll pay, but make sure his hotel, his airfare is paid. Yada yada yada. By the amount I'd sell. I'm not
Right.
dumb. Okay, I knew that side of the business as well. So I already knew or know what they're doing, right?
Mhm.
So it's not like people are going to watch this and be like, man, he must dislike them. I liked them a lot. I've won every award they had, most influential person, kickboxer of the year, like 3 years in a row. I have no problem with the NFC continuing to do shows. The
Absolutely.
difference, they just need to get off everybody's ass and do their own thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Compete, grow your own show, right? Keep doing what you're doing. You're a great show. Leave everybody else the hell alone. Keep your fingers out of the commission. Your people don't need to be in the commission. We need fair, just people that can make decisions for everybody, and we all can
Absolutely.
grow together. Period.
Man. I appreciate you saying that, man. That I don't see what's so controversial about what you just said. It seems like that would be the logical thought process for anybody that wants to get started in this sport, it just doesn't make sense. So just speaking about that, there obviously needs to be changes. This is a new sport, this is not something that people know a lot about. So can you tell the people at home, we're trying to get a little bit more information out there. Tell us a little bit about these commission meetings. What might the process look like for getting a new commissioner? What do we need to do? How can I help you? How can we get these people out of position and get the right people in? How can we do that?
So, it's a good old boy system to what I've
Mm.
seen so far. I'll
Mhm.
explain. I'd
Okay.
never attended a meeting other than through Zoom about me getting licensed and stuff like that medically. So I'd only been seen it at that point. To be honest, I did not know it was a few people so affiliated with David until they had me attend a meeting over this LLC thing. They
Mhm.
don't let you speak. It's much accusations being tossed around. Commissioner Bennett insinuating several times that we lied on
Mm.
the terms to do a
And you didn't have
show.
an opportunity to speak?
No, so Gary's tried, and Commissioner Bennett said, "No, you be quiet." And then a minute later, he caught himself. He said, "You'll be able to speak at the end." Well, when we try to speak at the end, it's very short. You have very limited time. They pretty much they guide the conversation. Is in you don't they just accuse you of several things. You got
Mm.
literally a blip to try to defend yourself, and if you don't speak out, they want you to speak. They cut Gary off and said he was done anyways.
Wow.
So
Wow.
I will say this: so far, uh, I am actually, and I want to make sure this, we wouldn't have probably been even, Clay said, hey, we'll ask you questions we need to. Thankfully, in that meeting, Commissioner Chris Harazzi, he said, well, they wouldn't lie on an LLC. He was like, at least let them explain themselves. That
Right.
man has integrity. Whatever decision he decides, I could back that. I feel he's a good person in the sport. He's a man of high integrity and character. I'm glad he asked that question because it was the obvious thing.
Right.
Clay was insinuating we lied over that, and who would lie over $125
Right.
to lose a show? You know,
So yeah, the showing to
it's
continue, that's
complete
insane.
incompetence for him to. It just makes no sense. Then he was saying mitigating circumstances do not matter, and they do in every eye of the law or any rule everywhere. If we're out there intentionally doing something, that's different than some accident happening. It just is.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question because I've talked to Gary yesterday, talked to him a little bit, and I he mentioned that during the meeting that they said that hold on, what was it that he said? He mentioned that, oh yeah, that they were. It seems like every time that they get a something on you guys or that doesn't stick, they come up with something else, right? Where it's even to the point where they're not even following their own protocol. Can you tell me a little bit about that? Um, about
Um,
about
so
the getting suspended or about to be suspended without even following protocol. Talk to me about that.
he's probably talking about us tabling that event. They really had no just right to table the event. It should have went to a vote. So pretty
Mhm.
much we're in good standing. We should have got a vote to do the June 8th event, which we did not. So that's affecting us
Mhm.
making money in the state, and we're under good standing. We did not accept their suspension, and they set the administrative hearing date. Or they were going back and forth as far as negotiating it still. Secondly, the LLC was brought to light. The director called and said, "Hey, this is been brought to light. Your LLC was expired." We said, "Oh crap!" It got sent to an Elevate. I'm sure Gary told you. Elevate spelled out our email is Elevate like this. The
Right.
accountant put it in. Our fault, mistake. We were like,
It's
"Hey, can we
okay.
pay a fine?" They said, "No, that's the cost of doing business for you guys. They wanted us to miss a show." I'm like, "Why? That hurts the sport. What? Just let us pay you. It's an LLC violation."
And
He quickly, the LLC was not the issue. You don't have to have an LLC in the state. That protected me and Gary. Let's say if somebody slipped and fell on water from suing.
right.
So after that, he went after. He said, "Well, you lied on the form," in which nobody lied. It was a mistake, right?
Just
So that's
misspelling of your, but misspelling. So misspelling of your name was. He wanted to say that was you lying.
so what he wanted to say was a lying. Let's say you fill out a form for an event permit. We filled
Right.
it out under Elevate LLC, our
Right.
business name. Everything's in good standing. We sign off on that. He's saying by us saying it was in good standing and the permit being under that, or the promoter's license under that, that we lied on that to get it. Well, why would we try to skate by over $125? That's not, nobody would do that. It's like, let's have some common sense here. So that just proves to the fact of any logical person would understand that. To be
Right.
called a liar about that, it made it personal. I,
Mhm. Mhm.
we're catching all the heat going on social media about this, but that is what made it personal and what made me look around the room and be like, wow, this is such a conflict of interest. Why is he being this way?
I got.
Our problem started when he, I guess, started coming to the shows in August. He was put in July. He admitted he didn't go to any boxing shows. He didn't look at anybody else's shows, but yeah, he's auditing our things, looking into doing things on the show to us that is in this archaic rule book, but it's not enforced on anybody else or asked of
Mhm.
anybody else. That's where it came to the fact of it's two separate issues. If you see I'm doing something wrong, tell me, get us on it, whatever. But when I see you're treating us differently than you treat everybody else, that makes me
Mhm.
wonder what's going on. You follow me?
Absolutely. Oh, I definitely follow you. And it just, opens up the door for a lot of other questions. Like I say, outside looking in, it looks extremely obvious to me what's happening. But also, knowing that there's been one promotion, looking at the history of the sport in Georgia, there's been one promotion that's been there, almost since the inception. And then there has not been another promotion that sticks. So everybody knows in a new business, you're a businessman. Everybody knows that when you start a business, they're a growing pain. Nobody gets it perfect just
Right.
getting started, right? Like, that's not how. If you're a commission, your goal should be growing the sport and understanding that this is, that there are learning pains involved with the sport, right? It just makes sense to me in a new venture like this. You guys would only be the second show that's active at the same time, for over 2 years. You know what I mean? That-
So I
it- it-
feel you're right, and that is one of the goals of the commission, to my understanding, is growing the sport, safety, professionalism. And let's be honest, I didn't say a word for a year and a half. I still seek to be professional, but I was not heard or not listened to until I went on social media at all. These representatives from our state wanted nothing to do with this battle while it was swept under the rug. So
Mhm.
will I be quiet on social media if justice is served and it's fair? 100%. I'm not here to
Mhm.
question authority. I'm not
No,
here for that if it's
no.
fair. Um, Secondly, as far as like growing the sport, yes, they're there to grow the sport. that should tell you that they want inclusion. They want, in my
It
mind,
should.
we
It
ask our
should.
there to you're there should be checklists to help new shows and stuff. There's some stuff that may come of this that may not directly benefit me that will but will help people in the future. And so that's
Absolutely.
important. If we
Hmm.
can get checklists for new promoters so they can't face this. There's no way. Hey, you get us this form, this, and this, you're 100% covered. Funny thing about the LLC is they didn't check it. Commission didn't check it. Then we're getting in trouble for it. The insurance underwriters were fine with it. And Gary's even another writer on that, so we're covered there. But nobody caught this, so we're getting caught by somebody on their own. Went on the SOS, and we're looking into our
In retro,
LLC.
yeah, they
You see what I'm saying?
retroactively.
You
Yeah,
tell me, who was that? Come
I,
on.
I get it, and no, trust me, I know
Yeah.
exactly who did it. You know, I already know exactly who did it, and I think that we need to say it. You know, David Oblas did it. It's all in benefit for the NFC, and that's how this has been operating for the past 20 years. I mean, 10 years at least for sure. And I commend you for it. I want to wish you as much luck in your fight as possible. You know, I've already looked into reaching out to my state representatives. I suggest everybody at home to look into reaching out to their state representatives, make as much noise as possible, because this is not fair for the state of for Georgia and combat sports. It's just not fair. And if anybody deserves an opportunity, it is these athletes out here who have sometimes sacrificed their entire careers under this freaking monopoly, which only benefits one person, to be honest with you. You know, if the sooner we can get that change, the better. So, I'm willing to do everything in my power to help you guys out. And anybody listening, I suggest you do the same, because this is a big moment in history here that we
And
actually have an opportunity.
let me be very direct here with everybody. Please go through the proper channels as best you can. Social media is fine. I'm not personally attacking anybody, but if you just want answers, that's fine. Reach out for your state reps. Matt Woodruff has been nothing but, in my mind, very ethical, high integrity guy from the commission. He's the executive director. Reach out to him, send him an email. The commission board itself, I don't want this to be a personal attack against them. I just want them to look around the room and decide for yourself. How can this be perceived as fair at all? If they have, if a few of them have the sort of ties they do to the NFC, as far as being on their staff pages, their name in the ring, things like this. That's all I want to ask. I want nothing more. Don't take sides. Don't take my side. Just seek the truth and seek common good for us all. For us all.
Right.
That's
Right.
it. The suspension issue, different issue. Whatever's resolved with that, it is what it is. I'll get better. I'll do better. We'll get change for all of us in the sport, for the future promoters. I'm fighting for you guys. It's going to be easier on call than it was me. That's for darn sure.
Well, that's what we need, man. And that's why, once again, that's why I support you guys so much. When I saw you guys were creating the Elevate Fight League, I knew it was going to be a difficult journey, but I knew there was nobody better to do it. Being the most influential person in the state, having the resume that you have, going as far as you have in this sport and multiple sports. I mean, there's no one better to take this fight. You've been fighting all your life. I know you're going to continue to fight. You've been winning. I foresee another victory for you. So, just keep doing your thing, man. And, just be the torch, man. Be that light that we need to have in Georgia MMA scene right now. And so just please continue what you're doing. You have our support.
I appreciate your time, and it doesn't go on deaf ears how you speaking to me. I remember many years ago you being kind of hung out to dry for some opinions as well. And now looking back, I really saw it happen to many people. If you differed in how you believed or saw something, he would rally his troops to kind of hang you out to dry. And it ain't right. It ain't right.
No.
We all can have an opinion. We all can have a view. We all can come to the table and eat here, right? I can clap for your success on the sideline just fine. I don't have to put.
No, but I appreciate that, he that's his tactics, and having been, I know now, we've seen it, we've been a part of it. It's fear tactics. He tries to scare people into doing and to acquiescing and getting his way. And that's tyranny, if you ask me. So
He's David is a very smart, savvy businessman. Okay. Uh, Purest compliment you can give him there. He's a shark when it comes to that. The problem is that he has sacrificed his integrity, the integrity of the sport, doing what he's doing. And that's just plain.
absolutely.
I
And that's
don't
where we
trust
got to draw the line. That's where we got to draw the line is, once again, while every sport, every other state has seen growth, tremendous growth in the sport, he has at every turn tried to stop and stifle growth if it's not relating to the NFC.
Oh,
So,
correct.
I think that that day is over. Those old Blasian days are over, where he's the one guy in the state. Just keep doing your thing, man. Keep fighting, keep elevating, and you're doing the right thing, my friend. Just know you got the truth behind you, and the many, 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 many years and many people who have experienced the treatment of Dave Oblas in the NFC. So you got what you're standing on, and just keep moving forward. You know what's going to happen.
I appreciate you. And we all make mistakes. We do.
Yes,
We're
sir.
all human. I
Yes,
hope
sir.
that some of these guys that are in between or on that side of the fence can look around and be like, "Hey, am I doing the right thing? That can I sleep at night with this?" And I just hope it plays out to help everybody. And me included. I can't lie. I hope that I'm able to run shows and do what I love. So that's all I ask of people. Just if you're sitting around, investigate for yourself, make decisions for yourself. Don't be bullied into something. There's always another way. There's other fight shows. There's other states. There's going to be more shows here soon. We can fight
Absolutely.
for the right thing. Thank you.
Absolutely. And man, I appreciate you so much. Appreciate you so much, Warren, man. That is what we need to hear. Once again, happy Easter. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak to me on this Easter Sunday. I'm gonna be writing an article. So much of what you said is important. A lot of people don't know. They just do not know. So just you having these conversations, reaching out. I got another a couple of guys I want to send you and Gary to in the media, so that we can get this story told as much as possible. I'm going to be writing an article on it. Let's all work together, share this out, because a big part of making change is letting people know that this is even happening, because people don't even know.
Knowledge is power, no matter how
Yes, sir.
you slice it. So
Sure.
knowledge is power. Power. We're just trying to bring to light things that are swept under the rug and just not noticed. It's not. I
Absolutely.
don't think necessarily people being bad people. They don't even realize they're being bad
Yeah.
people. It's just untalked about, unnoticed, not anything being done about it. So they don't know.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct, Warren. So I appreciate you stepping up and letting people know. We will talk again soon, man. I'm so grateful to get this opportunity to help you out in your journey. Just keep fighting,
But
man. I got your back. That's all I can say, man. I appreciate what you and Gary are doing for the entire community. So thank you guys so much. And we're running out of time here. But
yeah,
let's keep communicating. I got a couple of things I'd like to talk to you about outside of this, but just keep doing your thing, man. Keep elevating.
bless, man. Thank you,
Yes, sir.
guys. Appreciate it, buddy.
Yes, sir. Thank you again.
Thank you.